So part of preparing for the expedition is to prepare the crampons with a file. This handy dandy old school tool, you can see it's, maybe it's not focusing. Well, you can see that. And my crampons here need a little bit of sharpening, so as I'm headed to Russia here to go climb Mount Elbrus, I need sharp crampons, and you'll notice, yeah, a little bit of rust on there. And I asked some guys, and they always joked, I didn't realize crampons came in any other color than rust. Yeah. So even though I come home and I clean my crampons off and I spray WD-40 on them and put boiled linseed oil and all that junk, it doesn't work. No matter what I've done, they still seem to rust. Oh well. So what I have to do is I have to sharpen these teeth. And these teeth, and these teeth, these, no, not those. These, and these. Yes, is it a lot of work because you have to do 2 of them? Sure. But when you're on the mountain skittering around and your crampons aren't biting into the ice, this 15 minutes with a file will seem pretty good. Now the key is you don't file them this way. That ruins the crampons. You file them this way. Because what that does is it hones the points flat and it doesn't thin out the blade. Because if you thin out the blade, then it just bends in your toast. So I'm going to show you on my truck here, and I'm just going to file these just a little bit, sharpen them up so they're ready to go. You don't want it razor sharp because invariably you're going to hack yourself. I've done it, just slicing your finger. Not enjoyable, but just part of the process. These Gravel G12 Crampomatic, whatever they are, with their bot plates and all that. Super handy. So part of the experience of World Beyond is to show you what it's really like, and not just the beauty and the climbing, but all the junk and effort and prep work you got to do to make sure this trip happens. Yes, I know I'm leaning over the camera. Deal. So, get your crampon here. I usually just guide it. And I'm sure the metal workers will tell you should file this way, but I'm not because I don't want to hack myself. I'm only 5 days from my expedition start and I don't need to get an injury. Of course, you file this way, but the other direction is pretty impossible. And wait a minute. What am I doing here? Yeah, there you are. Okay. All you need is just a little bit of sharpening, just so when you flick your finger over it, you can actually feel just a tiny bit of bite. Don't go crazy. I know it's tempting, but don't go crazy. Woo, yeah. The huge difference between this guy and this guy. I don't know if you can see the camera focus. Yeah, that one's a little bit dull. But this one, it's pretty sharp. That's literally all it takes. You just file this sucker down. And I'm just holding this so you can see it on the camera. Normally I would just put it on the truck bed, but I want to show up close what it's really like. So I'll hold it over here and see if I can not stab my hand. There we go. Much faster. There we are. And I know the metalworking weenies say, "What are you doing? That's wrong. Don't move the file back and forth." Blah, blah, blah. No, because if I have to do this, I'm going to be here all day. I got a lot of points to sharpen, and I have other stuff to prepare. So just do it like the person who doesn't know what they're doing, because trust me, this file is like $2. It's okay if you ruin it. I haven't ever ruined a file yet. I've never rusted them. Woo, that's too sharp. Yeah, so this is literally how you sharpen crampons. That's it. It's some work, but it's not a big deal. I should probably be using gloves so I don't stab my hand. Let me go get some gloves on. Good, I got gloves on. Now, or I have gloves on for those grammar weenies out there. Yeah, because now I was already getting a stab in the wrist. Come on, camera. Yeah, I was already getting a stab right there from the crampon. Kind of annoying. Let's see if I can tilt the camera down more. Alright, so this is how to sharpen crampons. Now some of these teeth are exceedingly difficult to sharpen. It's quite annoying. Because they're actually rounded slightly. Crampons are pretty tough. The aluminum ones, you don't want to be doing this, you'll destroy them. Those little camp crampons, they're actually pretty good for snow trekking, but for serious mountaineering, no bueno, because when you start stomping on rocks and flying down the mountain, aluminum, blink! You want steel. I don't know where the steel comes from. Oh, that's not what it was sharpening. I don't know where the steel comes from, but whatever. Maybe somebody at U.S. Steel or Bethel Steel or whatever Pittsburgh Steel can tell you. Yes, and this is the reason I wear the gloves, because I just slipped and stabbed my thumb with a file. Yes, I'm not a metalworking expert. I do have my metalworking merit badge from the Boy Scouts, but that does not mean I'm a metalworking expert. Your mileage may vary. Sometime I'll show you how to do other dangerous, silly stuff. Ooh, yeah. Okay, what do we got there? Let's do the old test. Oh, that's much sharper there. Woo! Alright. Getting sharp. Now, after you do this on one crampon, you gotta do it on the other. And yes, I'm gonna sharpen them all. Just a little bit. Alright. How we doing? Looking okay? Now, interestingly, these Gravel crampons are made in Italy. Because Italy is actually quite a big place for climbing, so is France. I don't know, oh boy, those are too sharp. I don't know what kind of climbing crampons are made in France, so I just had to buy the Italian ones. Italian's not so bad. My face isn't focusing. There we go. And then on to the back. So you could see that this really isn't that big a deal. In every season when you go climbing or you go on a mountaineering expedition, you just sharpen these suckers up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Just a little bit more. Good. Do another one. Get the bar out of the way. Now you'll notice these are extra long because this is an extension bar on my crampons. Because my boots are size 47, they're huge. So I gotta get the ridiculously big bars. Make sure to test this before you leave. I made that mistake once. That was not enjoyable. I already did that one. Oh no, I didn't. So sharpen, sharpen, sharpen. You know, it's funny, I'm a safety speaker, and I was handling sharp things and file without a glove. That would definitely be a safety fail. Bah! Alright. Now these back ones, I don't think they really sharpen these things because they don't look sharpenable. They never came sharp in the first place. So maybe we'll skip that. Because I don't see any way to really sharpen them. So yeah, you look at the back ones here. Alright, camera. Yeah, there you go. See, they were never really sharp. So I'm just going to let those be. I don't know exactly what the deal is, but whew! So I don't know. How long was that? 5 minutes? 4 minutes? Me messing around? Oh, yeah. And these don't sharpen either. Let me zoom out the camera. There you go. Alright. There we can see my pretty mug. Yeah, so this and this point, these points don't get sharpened, and these points on this particular crampon. Your mileage may vary. Check your manufacturer's warranty, blah, blah, blah. Just know that if it doesn't look like it was ever sharpened, don't go sharpening it, because that actually carries the bulk of the weight. These guys are the ones that bite into the ice. This carries the weight, so just by the pressure of your foot, it probably goes in the ice pretty well. That's how I did it on Denali. That's how I did it up on Teewinot and Grand Teton. These guys are sharp. These guys don't seem to be, and that's just on the Gravel G12. You can see this little adjuster deal, so if I needed to shorten the extension bar on the crampon, I can shorten it quite a bit. So that's all there is to it. Oh, let me talk about this thing. So, see that little spring symbol in there? Yeah, there you go. See that spring symbol? That's called the anti-bot plate. And what happens is, camera. When you're hiking on the ice and snow, what happens is the ice begins balling up into here to the point where when you're coming alongside, you can actually have a ball of ice this big. I've actually had that happen. And the problem is now it's like one of those Lady of the Night shoes where your heels are about this big. And even though it's sexy and whatever they do it, when you're walking on a mountain, you've got these ridiculous Mondo boots here. Mine look like moon boots. And you've got this stepping here, and you're maybe stepping on ice. Your ankle's already kind of questionable. But then when you got a ball of ice in here, you're so high off the ground, the chance of you twisting your ankle, probably not twisting your ankle because they're capturing the moon boots, but you're going to crank your knee and your hips. Key thing. So yes, I know this is a video about sharpening crampons, but I just got to tell you this. So what this little ball thing does here is it flexes. So the idea is that as the snow and ice, every time you step, this guy flexes in, and then when you pick up, it pops out, and the theory is that rubber is supposed to push away the ice. Same thing on the back, it's got a little deal. Now, on my Black Diamond Joe generic crampons, I just put duct tape here because some climbing companies won't even let you go if you don't have bot plates on your crampons. So let me be right back and show you what I did for Ghetto crampon bot plates. Alright, it would be good if I could remember where they are. Alrighty, Ghetto. So, hey, check it out. More rust, imagine that. Now, you might say, what the heck is this duct tape garbage? Well, I needed the duct tape on these guys because when I climb with my just a leather boots, when I don't need a double boot, this duct tape is all that's really needed to generate that bot plate. Obviously, you don't get that sexy produced springy action. But just this piece of duct tape here, even though the ice builds up, there are the parts in your crampon when this bar is in here, the ice builds up and fills in the space. So in here, the Ghetto duct tape, the ice builds up a little bit, but it doesn't get into the mechanisms. Not that there are many mechanisms, but this bar here. And that helps prevent that ice buildup. Is it perfect? No! Should you buy new crampons? Whatever. I saw some guys climbing down Mexico a couple of years ago with let's just say the crampons were old enough that one of my climbing partners said to the guy who rented them, hey, you might want to, what did he say? Oh, yeah. Hey, the 1930s called. They want their crampons back. That was a pretty good line. Laugh. Yeah, so just this little Ghetto action. If you're not, if you don't own crampons, go get a pair of new ones. Yes, I know used ones are a little cheap, but you don't know what people have done in these two. The steel right now is flexible and tough, but when it's minus 40 degrees and you stomp, people have actually broken the bar on their crampons. So if you're going to some place like Everest or Denali or K2, now if you're going there, you already know this, but that's just something to let you know is bring an extra set of bars. I'm not gonna, I might. I might bring an extra set of bars for Elbrus, just because if I break my bar, it might be climb over. And of all the things to have in your climb, a broken bar, that would really stink. So something to consider. You don't have to sharpen the bar. You don't have to do anything. This is like turning into a total about crampon video, isn't it? That's okay. You'll learn something. And my other Ghetto rig here. Now you'll notice this little rubber dealie on here. And where's the other one? So these are called centipede? Millipede? No. Caterpillar? No. Crampon point protectors. These are super handy because these things are now sharp and they're going to put a hole in your hand. So you just, and this is really what causes your crampons to rust, is because that rubber holds the water in there and then your crampons rust. But you don't put a hole in your hand or your gear or your $1,000 sleeping bag or your face or whatever. And you just put these guys on here. And you squish that plate down there. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So now these are rubberized, and yes, I'm going to do this. Yeah. Oh wait, that's good. So that's not going to hurt my face. Do you think I'm going to do this with the crampon points? Yeah, you don't want to do that. Now, of course, if I stab myself hard with this, yeah, it'd still hurt. The thing about these rubberized deals, they're kind of heavy. Most people just mate their crampons together, and you can use a couple of 2-liter soda bottles. This is great. I got to get a couple. Get some 2-liter soda bottles, chop them in half, and you can squish your crampons into them, and makes the ultimate shield because, amazingly, 2-liter bottles are super tough. Really tough. So you can protect your crampons that way. I go with the crampon point protectors in a bag because once I tear apart the 2-liter once or twice, it's so frustrating to use. So this is a great way to go. Your mileage may vary, but anyway, back to the sharpening video thing. As my little aside there, I'm going to fast forward this part. Don't worry. So these have been sharpened. These have not. And I just recently sharpened these, so they're still good and sharp. Oof. So I'm just gonna let's see where these. Yeah, no, those are sharpened. These aren't. Oh, interesting. You can actually see. Let's see if I can get it to focus here. Will it focus there? No, probably not. Okay. So on the steel there, maybe if you watch this in high def, you can actually see the point of that steel is just dinged over just a little bit. And that is all it takes to slip on some ice. So you hit that with the file a couple times. Let's see what happens here. See if I can knock that burr off. See, just so I can show you. 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom! Burr's gone. Just like that. Super fast. I know you can't see it, but you'll deal. So just to get rid of that tiny little burr on the crampons, that's all it takes. And now they're at least this point, sharp and ready to go. So I'm going to put it down here, and we're going to fast forward. Nope. Yep. All right. Ooh, yeah, you could hear it wasn't sharp. And I can actually see a tiny bit of metal coming off there. Yeah. Ho, ho, ho. Ha ha ha. Alright. The reason I'm doing this 5 days in advance is because if anything goes wrong, I still have a chance to do something about it. Don't be doing this the night before your expedition. Plan early in your expedition. Be like doing your gear a week in advance. Don't be packing the night before. You'll make a mistake. It's miserable. You'll be tired. You're arguing with your significant other, or your kids, or your dog, or your cat, I don't know. Maybe if you don't have any of those things, you argue with your goldfish. And if you don't have that, argue with your vehicle. Because what will happen when you're running to the airport late? Your vehicle will have a problem. Or something else bad will happen. So that's one thing I learned going to Greenland, going to Antarctica is, man, do this stuff really early. Oh yeah. Sexy sharp. Oh yeah, okay. Almost done. I don't know why they put a rounded curve on that thing. It's kind of silly. Because now you can't sharpen the darn thing. Ah. Okay. Now, since I'm right-handed, I gotta flip this around. Yeah, maybe it's only meant to sharpen on this side. I don't know. I'm learning to. I've sharpened them before, but I never paid attention that that little curve there. Let's see. Yeah, that little curve there, it doesn't fit the file, so this is the only side that you can do it on. A little bit sharper. Okay. Ooh, that actually was dinged up a bit. Alright. Come on. This one's really dinged up. Must have happened when I hit those rocks in Denali. Hey, those don't get sharpened. Those are sharp. Boom! Yeah! And widen out. Just like that. I don't know how long that actually took. The camera says 16 minutes, but with running around and all that, I don't know, like 12 minutes. Hit each one maybe 10, 12 times. Nothing scientific. All of a sudden it snags my glove. Woo! Sharp! Ready to go? Climbing Elbrus. My name is Aaron Linsdau, Polar Explorer Motivational Speaker. This is how you sharpen crampons. Oh wait. With the file, this is how you sharpen crampons.